name is Bexer and I also go by Rebecca, and this is my first ever audio voiceover for this. I planned on making my dream house, but then I ended up doing something completely different. It became way too big, and I actually don't want a house this big. So it's not a dream house, but it's still a house that I wouldn't mind personally living in. And here I'm struggling forever with this house. I tried, little Simsy. I always have a hard time with little word, but I tried to follow her guide, but I probably misremembered something because it just wouldn't work out. And in the end, I did this. I just made the upper floor slightly bigger, and then I messed around even more with the build because I did something strange when I extended it. I don't remember exactly what I did, but here I am just moving things around. I did a chimney and everything because I planned on having an open fire inside, but I actually forgot about that. And basically I just forever trying to figure out what exterior it's going to be. So yeah, my plan for this house was actually that it was going to be a quick build that I could do for an hour or two, and I ended up building for over 5 hours. So that's what happens sometimes. And I watched a lot of Twitch. I watched people playing Among Us because I've myself become addicted to it. I today had to set a timer that I only got to play for an hour, otherwise I would sit there all day. I have been awake all night playing Among Us because it's just that addicting, and then you just forget that time has passed. I'm probably not alone in this, as I see other people say that they're awake and just playing it all the time. I just love it, and I'm trying to get my friends to play with me, but they are not sold on it yet, even though I know that they will love it. We have board games that we've played that are very similar to it. So I'm hoping that they will change their minds. Anyway, here I got into the inside. I'm trying to plan out the layout for the inside. You will see me in a little while. I will move the staircase back a bit just to fit everything in. In the beginning, I did it boxed in, and for a while I thought about making it a bit more open. But then when I thought about what kind of house this was and the era I imagined it being built, and here I accidentally exited out of the build, not intentionally, but the era I figured this had been built in is one where there are thin corridors and it's a bit more boxed in rather than the open plan. And personally I prefer this. I do not like open plan very much. It's very popular right now, and I've lived in apartments that are very open plan, but I prefer older builds. Right now I live in an apartment that was built in the 50s, early 50s. I love it. Before this I lived in an apartment that was newly built. I was the first one to live there, and I did not like it at all. I have a friend, an old colleague from my old work place she really prefers newer builds. So we've been very different. We're very different about that. And regarding that kitchen I just built, I wanted a big kitchen. Like, that was when I was still building something that I personally saw myself living in, and I want a big kitchen where I can just spread out and have all these appliances and just have space for everything I want to do. I love cooking and everything, so here I'm messing it around with the outside because I realized midway through that by the way, I don't like that. But this living room is a bit inspired by my current living room, at least the couch and the end table, whatever, bureau behind it. That's what I have in my apartment. It's very small, so I don't have space for the sitting area behind it and the blah 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 blah. I keep losing words. The bouquets. I instead have a huge custom built that I designed and built myself, without my dad, of course. Like TV area with the built-in bookcase, and I love it. And I still have something I've planned to add on it for the past 2 years. I've lived here for over 2 years, and I've planned for the entire time there to just expand that area, to add another shelf, but I just haven't. So I'm just adding a few clutter things that I just spot as I'm scrolling through. But here I'm building. Yeah, I usually do this where I scroll through and I'm like, yeah, this I want for this other room, so I tend to jump between rooms. But here I'm building a closet, and ends up being a closet. I know that in, I don't know, America, England, probably not England, but there you usually have a personal storage. You have a huge wardrobe for things like shoes and everything. But here in Sweden, at least, it's very common to have, a room for those things just next to the doorway, or basically in the doorway. You walk in, you take your shoes off and everything just inside. And I think here is... No, I thought this was here where I got my food, but I think I went to the bathroom to pee. Pee break. But I decided I'm trying here to box it in a bit, but I realized that you can't do that, do a proper wall and everything because of the staircase. I wish you could build a staircase into a room, because that would make it so much cooler. And I also wonder a bit about, the seating area in the hallway. I wanted to have like a place you could sit, to put on your shoes and everything if you're older, if you're, I don't know, heavily pregnant, I don't know, you can't really bend down as much, or you don't have as well of a balance. But I figured to just use those chairs there from Tiny Living. I love those chairs, and I used them throughout this build because I want one myself. So I keep just putting it in there. And here I built this little dining area, which is probably the most boring part of the build. And here I'm just trying to figure out the hallway to make it a bit more interesting and not make it as empty as it is. It's a big hallway, actually. It's not as small as I sold it in the beginning, but it's still, the boxes. And I really wanted to use this desk, but I couldn't get it to work with a computer because the keyboard would look like it was falling off the edge. So that's why I kept changing. And I put this little camera thing because initially I was going to build this for myself, and I wanted to have like reminiscent of YouTube and everything, but that didn't end up sticking. Instead, I dedicated that to one of the children, that they're going to be interested in photography. And when it comes to the kids' bedrooms, I'm trying to keep it somewhat gender neutral, so that you can have like any gendered kid to live in these rooms. I don't like building rooms that are very geared towards one gender, because I don't really believe in gender that way. I myself, I'm very, I have masculine personality traits that I think people see me. Not only am I tall and have huge hands and huge feet, that's one thing, and I'm very hairy. I'm very honest about that I'm very hairy. But yeah, so being that myself, and I am a woman, I identify as a woman, and I have XX chromosomes and all that. I don't think gender is a thing like that. And even if I had XX chromosomes and was a man, that's something that can be, it's not set. And I tried that for a while to try back to the build. I'm trying it to figure out the bathroom because I wanted it small. I wanted that closet in there because this is the teenager's room, and I wanted, the dedication to a closet. And so there I got my food. I ordered food. It arrived, so I thought I had stopped the recording, but I had not stopped the recording. So here I'm jumping right into it. And in the beginning, I was a bit conflicted about the theme. I ended up making this a very dark room because I felt like that was very teenage-y, and pretended that this bookshelf was a built-in because I like that look and I wanted to have a bookshelf in it. I'm very prone to putting bookshelves everywhere. I love bookshelves, I love the look of them, I love the look of books and everything. So that's just what I do. I want to encourage book reading. I also put TV in here to give the teenagers a space to be alone. I always wanted a TV in my room when I was a kid, so I want to give my teenagers in The Sims a TV. When I have kids myself, they won't have a TV on their room for the same reason my parents didn't put it in mine, because I want to know what they're watching and to encourage being social. I instead just was on my computer all the time, reading fanfiction and watching things on YouTube, playing games and everything. So I kind of backfired then anyway. But it was a good time. I'm a bit older, so when I was on the internet back then, it was a different thing, and I think that was kind of a blessing in a way to be able to be online and benefit from the good parts of online without the risks that there are nowadays. There were still risks back then, but I feel like they are different now. Anyway, I'm building an upstairs here that is less for socializing. I wanted there to be a downstairs where the company could be. I realized that I forgot to put a bathroom downstairs, but whatever. There's an upstairs bathroom. There's plenty of bathrooms in this build, so the guests would have to go upstairs and see the private area upstairs. But the main idea was for the downstairs to be more of an entertaining area, so you can have guests, and that's something that I myself, love to do. I love entertaining. One of my favorite things to do is to cook and bake for people. I would like cooking more if I did it for other people, but as I live alone, there's not many people to cook for, and I don't actually like that. So here I initially placed the what's it called? The washer and dryer upstairs in the bathroom there, but then I moved it down. And this is also another thing I realize is probably kind of unique for the Nordic countries, I don't know, that we have generally the washer dryer in a washing room and not in the kitchen. Anyway, here I'm coming to the end of the build. I decided to do the outside of the build off camera just to save space on my computer. So there's just going to be pictures of them. I'm putting the finishing touches on the inside here and just making that little extra bit with decorations and everything. I had a bit of a struggle with the curtains, especially since I'm trying to make this a non-CC build. But here I'm done with the build on the inside, so I'm moving to the outside and just doing a few things. And I hope you like these pictures of the outside, so please let me know what you think in the comments below, and please don't hesitate to follow and like me, because that would help me out a lot. Anyway, have a good day.